भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी भाष्याद देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Hare Krishna. So we are reading from chapter 13 Bhagavad Gita and text number 8 to 12, which is Krishna explains the 20 items of knowledge, and we'll continue. It has already been discussed. So we are continuing from Indriyartheshu Vairagyam An Ahankara Evacha Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosha Anudarshanam. So these are different items of knowledge. Krishna says, one who knows all of this, that person is considered as person in knowledge. So the first thing that we discussed today is Indriyartheshu Vairagyam. Vairagya, renunciation of Indriyartheshu, the object of sense gratification. So this is important that a person understand that I should just renounce all this objects for sense gratification, and that person is considered in knowledge. An ahankara evacha, an absence of false ego, ahankara. Anahankara evacha, janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. And also there has to be the darshan, the perception of janma mrityu jara vyadi, that it is dukkha, it is dosha. So that should be the perception about birth, death, old age, and disease. So let us discuss now one by one. Indriyartheshu vairagyam. So indriyas, the senses, they always look for the sense objects. So it is explained in so many other places in Bhagavad Gita that one should learn to control the senses. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains the nature of uncontrolled senses. So it is said, Indriyani pramatini haranti prasabham mana. So these uncontrolled senses, it can take away haranti prasabham mana. It take away the mind of whom? Purusasya vipashidaha. So uncontrolled senses can take away the mind of a man of discrimination, person who's considered as wise, who knows what is right and what is wrong, very wise person. But if the senses are uncontrolled, to that person also they can just carry away, they can just take away the mind of such a person. So this is the nature of this uncontrolled senses. So Prabhupada explains in the purport that self-control means one should not accept anything which is detrimental to the path of spiritual progress. One should become accustomed to this and reject anything which is against the path of spiritual progress. This is real renunciation. So this is the principle that our acharyas teach, anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam. So when we are talking about vairagyam, indriyartheshu vairagyam, renunciation from the sense gratification, controlling the senses, it doesn't mean that we completely uh, shut them off. But the principle is anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam. Whatever is favorable for our Krishna consciousness, that much we accept, and something which is detrimental to the path of spiritual progress, pratikulasya varjanam, that is varjit, that is restricted. So this is the principle. This is how we should utilize our senses and engage them more and more into Krishna consciousness, which helps us to progress spiritually. Right. So the senses should be only gratified to keep the body fit so that one can discharge his duty in advancing in a spiritual life. So many times people misunderstand all these kind of concepts. They're saying, oh, we have to control the senses. Controlling means not allowing them to do something or to engage in something which is detrimental to our spiritual progression. But otherwise, senses cannot be shut off. They have to be used. How to use? As much as it is needed to keep our body and mind fit so that we can nicely engage in devotional service. So that much engagement is needed for the senses. And Prabhupada point out here, the most important and uncontrollable sense is the tongue. If one cannot control the tongue, then there is every possibility of controlling, sorry, if one can control the tongue, then there is every possibility of controlling the other senses. So this is very, very important. There are different urges are there. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Udarupastha Vegam. So Jiva Vegam has been explained, one of the main important item. If one cannot control the tongue, now the tongue has the two function. It vibrates, it speaks, we use the tongue for talking, for speaking, and also for tasting. So people generally have the uncontrolled tongue means they like always want to talk something which is not Krishna conscious, which comes in the category of prajalpa, talking about all this worldly affairs. It is also needed sometime that we should know what is happening around, but too much talking about all those things. All the time the discussion is all about politics, Hollywood, Bollywood, sports, and so many other things, and backbiting others, bitching someone, that kind of talk, you know. So this is the function of the tongue, but one should control. So many people, the anyone who has this uncontrolled tongue, they just keep talking uncontrollably. They doesn't know what to talk, when to talk, how much to talk. They just go on talking. This talking has been compared with uh, the croaking of a frog. It is in the Nectar of Instruction. Prabhupada explained this. Like a frog, when he croak, he make the sound. It basically invites the snake to come and devour him. So in the same way, people, those who are using their tongue and talking all kinds of worldly affairs all the time and no talking about Krishna, no Krishna Katha, no discussion about Krishna, then that talk is just simply inviting the snake of Kal. Time will come and devour them. So Prabhupada is saying here, the most important sense is this tongue. So one should learn to control. So this is about talking, and also the another function of the tongue is the tasting. So one should only taste, one should only eat Krishna Prasadam. There is always temptation to eat whatever we see, but a devotee, he never, uh, there might be temptation, but he doesn't just get carried away by those temptation. Devotee always want to taste and eat only something which is offered to Krishna. So this way we can control this tongue, and once one learn the to control the tongue, then easily one can control all other senses. Right? So this is important, and as Krishna also says in the second chapter, uh, "Niraharasya dehina vishya vinivardante niraharasya dehina rasovarjam rasopyasya param drashtva nivardate." So this control comes by developing the higher taste. Our senses need some engagement. They need some ahar, but it should be the higher taste. So one should starve them from all this lower taste, and it is not only just limited to tongue, controlling the tongue, but ahar for other senses are also like eyes always want to see something beautiful. So we cannot just close the eyes all the time. We can see the beautiful form of the Lord and so many other wonderful. When we go out, we see something beautiful. We can just see the beautiful creation of the Lord, and that should trigger the remembrance of the Lord that the Lord is so wonderful. Prabhupada says in one place, when you look at the creation and you look at the something is very beautiful, then you can think that if the creation is so beautiful, then how beautiful the creator would be. Right. So with that perspective, we can use our eyes to see beautiful creation, uh, but not something which is obscene content. We should avoid seeing all that. In the same way, ears, we have to hear something, some soothing music, so we can listen some nice devotional music, some nice kirtan, some Krishna Katha, instead of talking all kinds of prajalpa and talking all kinds of unnecessary things. We should avoid to hear all of that. So Krishna says nirahar shadahina. So this is how we can control our senses. Indriyartheshu vairagyam. They should be nicely utilized, engaged. Otherwise, there's no end. The senses are like, you are putting the butter in the fire, thinking that it will satisfy the fire, But more you put the butter in the fire, it demands more and more and more. This is the nature of the senses. You try to satisfy them, they ask more and more and more. So this is why it is important that one should control this sense engagement. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami explains this senses and the desires. Kamadinam kadina kadidha palita durnidesha Tesham jatmahi na karuna na trapano pashantihi usrijjetan dayadupade sampratam labdha buddhis tvam mayata sharanam abhayam mam niyukta atma dashe. So this has been explained. Kama dinam katina kadidha palita durnidesha. That a devotee is praying to the Lord, oh my dear Lord, there's no limit to this unwanted orders of lusty desires. I have rendered them so much service. We're trying to satisfy so much our senses. Nicely we feed, nicely we give all the comforts, but they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. We just goes on feeding, goes on satisfying the sense desires and the sense enjoyment, sense gratification. But then devotee is praying, oh my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence have been awakened and now I am giving them up. See, when our intelligence awakes, then a devotee immediately gives up. He understands this sense gratification is such a trap. I'm just going down and down, degrading myself. So, due to the transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires. And I now come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. This is the hope, this is the Savior. That we engage all our senses, mind, intelligence, everything in the personal service of the Lord. As Amrish Maharaj also in the Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us that how to engage all the senses in the service of the Lord. Savai mana Krishna padar vendayo vacham se vaikuntha gunanu varnane. So we engage all our senses, vachamsi or tongue, in vaikuntha gunanu varnane, glorifying the Supreme Lord. Karo harer mandir marjana disu, our hands in doing some seva to the Lord, and the legs to walk to the temple, and like that we can engage all our senses in the service of the Lord. So this is indriyartheshu vairagyam. And the next thing Krishna says is an ahankara evacha. So this ahankar is referred here as false ego. False ego means thinking that I am this body, and when we start thinking that I am this body, and then we create various identities around the body. It is not that we think all the time that I am the body, but there's various identities, different identities. Bhagavatam identifies the different identities like different 8 identities. Atmajaya Sudagara Pashudramina Bandasu Rajye Chaviklam Nityam Virudam Mamatam Jaho. So think Atma, the person thinks that I am this body, and then immediately Jaya, Sutha, Gara. Jaya means she is my wife, they are my children, this is my house, and we start identifying with each and everything. My identity is my beautiful wife, my identity is my nice kids, my identity is my big house. Pashu Dravina Mandusuhu. Pashu. Pashu means like, oh, this is my car. I possess this important car. You identify with the car. Dravina Bandhusu. Dravina means this is my bank balance, this is my money. So this is an identity that I'm a rich man, I'm a businessman, I'm a big man. Bandhushu. Bandhushu means social acceptance. So like that we create so many identities, and these are all false identities. Ego means anger means aham. Aham means my real identity. But here Krishna is saying is an ahankara evacha. One should be free from all this anger. Which anger? False ego, these false identities. Right. So this is very, very important that we have created that deha, patra kalatradishu, atmajanyeshu, ajaswabhi. So many false identities. This deha, that patra kalatradishu, my wife, kids, and everything. This is my sena. They will save me. They will protect me. So one should come out from all these false illusory identities and illusory hopes. Right. So Prabhupada explains here, false ego is condemned, but not real ego. In the Vedic literature, it is said, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman, I am a spirit. This I am, the sense of self also exists in the liberated stage of self-realization. So, ego means identity, but one should understand, one should become uh, knowledgeable about the real identity. And that identity has been explained, revealed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. This is what is our real identity is. That I am the eternal servant of Krishna. And further Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, it's not that I am the servant of Krishna, but my real identity is this. Gopi Bharatur Pad Kamalayor Das Das Dasanu Das. I'm not just servant of Krishna, but I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. So we are not just trying to become the servant of Krishna, but we are trying to become the servants of Vaishnavas, the devotees. This is what is our real identities, and one should function in that identity. And when we start functioning in that identity, this is our eternal identity in connection with Krishna. All other identities related to body is all temporary, and it will be keep changing. In the moment, there is a change in that identity, the person collapses. He can accept. Person thinks I'm a rich person, but suddenly something goes wrong, and then you are no more rich, or your business not doing great. Person get collapsed. They get heart attack because you created your false identity, and that identity is collapsing, and then you are also collapsing. So we should anchor onto the real identity. This real identity is I am the part and parcel of Krishna. My real identity is servant of Krishna, servant of the devotees of Krishna. This is the real identity, and Krishna confirms that in the Adi Puran, quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna says, Ye me bhakta jana bharta, na me bhaktas chate janaha, mad bhaktanam jay bhaktas, te me bhaktatma mataha. So Krishna saying this to Arjun that those who are my direct devotees, ye me bhakta jana bharta, na me bhaktate janaha, they are not actually my devotees. But who is your devotee then? Mad bhaktanam chaye bhaktas. Those who are the devotees of my servants. Te me bhakta tamamada. They are my devotees. So this is what is Krishna is saying. So when we try to become the devotees to the devotees of the Lord, that is what is our real identity, and that pleases Krishna, that helps us to progress in our Krishna consciousness. So this is an ahankara evacha. And then next item, Krishna says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanudarshanam. This is knowledge. What is the knowledge? Darshan. Darshan means the perception. We see the things as that the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease. This is Dukkha and Dosha. This is the real Dukkha in this world. These are the real miseries in this world. And one who sees them as misery, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, this is dukkha and this is dosh. One should come out from that, right? So this is the knowledge. So it should be thoroughly understood that the birth is distressful. Prabhupada is writing in the Bhagavad, because we forget how much distress we have suffered within the womb of the mother. We do not make any solution to the repetition of birth and death. This is distressful. Birth is distressful, but we just keep forgetting. It is distressful to the child who is in the womb of the mother, and it is distressful to the mother who is giving the birth to the child. That labor pain, when the birth, at the time of birth, the mother goes through the excruciating pain, and that time mother thinks that I would never again, do this. I'll never give birth to any child who's in that pain. She thinks, but later, and this is the condition nature, that we forget all suffering, and the mother gives the birth again to the child. And this is distressful, right? It had been described by Kapiladev uh, in the third canto, in the conversation with Devhuti, that how the child is suffering so much in the womb of the mother. Some of the descriptions are given in those conversation is The fetus lives in an abominable residence of stool and urine, growing while nourished by the mother's food in a place filled with worms. In the womb of the mother, it's not a very clean place, filled with all kinds of obnoxious stuff, urine, stool, and everything. And there are worms and they're biting the tender skin of the child, and that is why child is crying. So much suffering. This birth, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, jo, it has been explained that Janma is very, 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 very painful. The child, scorched by the mother's gastric fire, prays to the Lord to be released from the confinement of the abdominal bloody pool. The child, aware of its situation, promises to worship the Lord to avoid entering the womb again, but forgets this upon birth due to the influence of Maya. So, this is Maya's world. As soon as we come out, we forget all our suffering. But a person who is in knowledge, he knows. And Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, this is suffering. So, birth is suffering. Similarly, uh, the disease, nobody wants to be disease. We all have the practical experience. And then old age, we are all scared of old age. You can't even properly sit. You can't even walk. You can't even see properly. You can't even eat. If you eat, you can't digest. So many problems. This is dukkha dosha. So janma, mrityu. Mrityu is another uh, fearful thing in this material world. You But we sometime, not sometime, but all the time, act in ignorance. There is a conversation between Raksha and Yudhishthir Maharaj. So Yudhishthir Maharaj was asked the question that what is the most amazing thing, most wonderful thing in this world? And Yudhishthir Maharaj points out, he says, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yam alayam sthavara shesha kim asharyadaparam. So he says, I see that ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yam alayam. People are dying every day. We are seeing every day. We are hearing some news. This many people died here, there, everywhere. But Stavara Sheshichanti, those who are Stavara Shesh, those who are here, they think that they act as if they are gonna live here forever. Kim Ashwarya Dabaram. What can be the most surprising thing? So this Mrityu is a very, very fearful thing. But, sometimes uh, these ostriches, they close their eyes or they just put their head into the ground thinking that there's no danger. It's fool's philosophy. So many times people say, Prabhupada is pointing out here in the purport, that, oh, what is this? You guys are like so pessimistic. But it is not pessimistic. This is realistic. And just ignorance, closing eyes does not take away the danger awaiting. So better we remain aware and then do something about it. So Krishna is guiding us here. Na janma mrityu jara vyadhi. So it is not a pessimistic view. Prabhupada explains actually that unless we, or if somebody says that it is pessimistic, Prabhupada is saying, unless we have a pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distress of birth, death, old age, and disease, there is no impetus for our making advancement in a spiritual life. So it is okay to be pessimistic also. If somebody blames us to be pessimistic, it is fine to be pessimistic about material life. That gives us the trigger. That gives us the impetus to look for another option, some better options, and then we can turn towards Krishna. So this kind of pessimism is also great instead of being always very optimistic and then acting in ignorance. But actually speaking, devotees are not pessimistic. They're very, very optimistic, but their optimism is all that dependence on Krishna, that Krishna is there. Then they're very hopeful, they're very, very confident, uh, and like that. So devotees are not pessimistic, but they also understand the reality, the real perception, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. So these are the items of knowledge today we discussed. That Indriyartheshu Vairagyam, the senses should be controlled and nicely utilized in engaging them in the service of the Lord. And Ahankara Evacha should be free from the false ego, that I am the body and the various identities around the body, but we understand our real identities, that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are servant of Krishna. So we should be always engaging ourselves in the service of Krishna. And the third item we discussed was this perception, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, Dukkha Dojanu, Darshanam, birth, death, old age, and disease. They are actually dukkha, they are the miseries, and then they are dosha. So one should make some arrangement to come out from all this. So this is knowledge and many more items yet to discuss, which we'll discuss in the next session. Anybody has any quick question or any comment, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, there is no question. We'll stop with this. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.